Okay, thank you very much, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back in London again. Silver One, company that some of you have heard of. I presented here last year. Founded in 2016, sort of founded on the basis of 3 Mexican silver projects, but we've now jettisoned the Mexican silver projects, and we're now focusing on the southwest United States, which Mr. Trump will be very happy about, shall we say. But anyway, let's move on. This is our primary asset. It's called the past-producing Candelaria silver mine in the state of Nevada. I'll go into a bit of a description on this one. You can see in this photograph one big open pit and one big heap leach pad. There's actually 2 big open pits and 2 big leach pads. I'll get into some of the details in a little bit. That's the forward-looking statement. You can read that in our brochure. So we have 3 projects. The Candelaria past producing silver mine. We just put out yesterday, actually, a brand new updated 43101 compliant resource on Candelaria. I'll talk about that. We're moving forward with met testing, upcoming PEA. Phoenix Silver Project, very interesting silver project, but has fantastic porphyry copper potential as well. I'll talk about that. And the Cherokee Project is another early stage high-grade silver, gold, copper system. And we're not doing a lot of work there right now. We're just too busy concentrating on Candelaria and Phoenix Silver. So we did the financing last year. We've got enough money in our treasury to carry on and complete our metallurgical studies and go on to a PEA. And we'll talk about that later on. So the important thing about Candelaria is we've done some very interesting metallurgical testing, and we've increased recovery significantly, both on the heaps and on the fresh material. Phoenix Silver, as I said, is a very high-grade system, good porphyry copper potential. It's in a great porphyry copper belt, very high-grade silver veins, and Cherokee early stage. I'm just going to spend maximum 2 minutes on why silver. Industrial uses, about 65%. The big new up-and-coming uses are in the electronic section, solar panels and electric cars. And even though Mr. Trump doesn't like electric cars, except for Elon Musk's electric cars, we believe that there is a great future for the electric car industry. We have the traditional uses, jewelry and silverware. And of course, we have the investor side in coins and bullion. Some of the other big investments are in the AI industry. Computers use a lot of silver, and the AI industry is really impacting the amount of computing capacity that is going to be required going forward in the future. Okay, there we go. Another big consumer of silver. The military, all those little missiles that we seem to be using a lot of lately are certainly using a lot of silver. Satellites, aerospace, nuclear submarines, you name it, all growth potential for silver. Of course, we have the solar panels, electric vehicles. We're producing somewhere in the vicinity of 825 million ounces of silver per year, but we're consuming over 1 billion ounces of silver per year. So what's making up the shortfall? Well, we have recycling, we have scrap, etc., but that's not going to last forever. And a lot of the projections are for increased use of silver. As was mentioned earlier, right now we're in a bit of time of uncertainty. So what is the growth potential for silver in the short term? Well, silver prices are holding their own. They're in the $32 to $33 range, which is very good. When we first acquired our Candelaria project, we were talking about $12, $14 silver. So right now it's looking not too bad. These are some of the reasons, essentially, that could bring about growth in silver. A lot of them is essentially safe haven, but we're looking at possible inflationary pressures. We're looking at debt situation in the United States, which doesn't seem to be going away. And we're looking at the US dollar index, which is coming down, and economic and political risk around the world. All these factors will contribute to not only silver, but gold as well. These are some of the gains of silver with respect to gold in an upturn commodity cycle. If we look at what is projected A lot of people are saying we're going into another precious metal cycle, so we should see silver outperforming gold, although it's not happening right now, but as we said, it is in a time of uncertainty right now. So let's jump into Candelaria, a little bit of technical. I apologize for that, but it's an important component. Located on the western side of Nevada, just off the main highway that joins Reno to Las Vegas. Very well located with respect to infrastructure. Early producer, it was discovered in 1864, a year before the end of the US Civil War. Between then and 1959, it produced from high-grade silver veins, silver oxide veins, at an average grade of 1,250 grams per ton of silver. To put that into context, a lot of mines in the world today, underground mines, are producing somewhere between 200 and 500 grams per ton of silver. You get some of the exceptions. Mag silver is about 700 grams per ton of silver, but this was very rich indeed. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was converted into big open pit mining. Kinross was the last big producer. All told, they all produced about just about 68 million ounces of silver. 97, Kinross decided to shut it down. Silver prices had dropped to about $2.50 per ounce, a little bit different than today. They started a reclamation, didn't complete it, which is beneficial to us. They sold it off to Silver Standard. They did some drilling, outlined a resource that is now historical. They also did some testing, but silver prices were still under $5, so they moved on to other projects. We approached them in 17 for approximately $3.5 million of Silver One shares, plus replacement of a $2.5 million reclamation bond on one of the big heap leach pads. We acquired a 100% interest in the project with no royalties back to Silver Standard. Now, let's talk about the resource. We just put this out yesterday. We had a positive impact on our share price. Essentially, measured and indicated, all told, are amounting to approximately, oh, I gotta get my glasses on. Actually, I'm gonna, there we go, now I can read it. Okay, about 61 million ounces of measured and indicated ounces of silver equivalent. There's a little bit of gold in the system as well. And then in the Northern Bell, that was just the Mount Diablo pit, the Northern Bell is another 9.5 million ounces of silver. If we look at the combined, we're talking about 70 million ounces of silver at the measured and indicated, plus another inferred of another 7 million ounces of silver. Underground also has some good potential. The system remains open, heading down dip. It has not been drilled off, so that's work that we need to do, and there are some low-grade stockpiles. Now, on top of that, if any of you looked at the brochure, this brochure talks about 45 million ounces on the heaps. Well, that is true. That consists of about 30 million ounces at the indicated level, and on the second heap, about 16 million ounces. It did not talk about the release that we just put out yesterday because that information was not available for the printing of this brochure. So there's a lot more silver at Candelaria, and there's a lot more to be found. We just need to do some more drilling. I'm not going to go into this. This is just the details of how the resources was calculated. Here is essentially the main highway that joins Reno to Las Vegas, 2 miles of paved road, past the leach pad that was in behind the hill, the big leach pad you saw in the photograph, 2 big open pits. The resource is essentially at the base of the pit and down dip to the northeast. We've got a power line. We pay our monthly power bills. We've got 2 water wells, each capable of 500 to 700 gallons per minute. So we've got a lot of the infrastructure already in place. We did a lot of drilling around the pits. You'll see the historic drilling in yellow, and then we put in a lot of other holes, reverse circulation and diamond drilling. 2 components of the mineralization. First of all, we've got a long strike out of the Mount Diablo pit. That comprises a lot of the resource, but heading down dip to the northeast, we're getting into mixed oxide sulfide as we go down deeper, and it's becoming pure sulfide, we believe, but we haven't drilled it off. So there's a lot more room for expansion of mineralization. Now, people ask about metallurgy. Well, one of the issues with the heap leach pads is when we first looked at the project, we thought, let's bring the leach pads back into production as an early stage situation. But these were partially leached. So the cream of the crop, shall we say, had been extracted. The original recoveries at Kinross from the open pit were 51%. That's typical of a lot of these silver oxide type deposits. It's a little bit harder to extract silver. We did recoveries, testing, metallurgical testing, and we were only getting about 21 to 29% recoveries off the heap leach pads. That's why we started drilling the fresh material. On the fresh material, we're getting up to 66% recoveries using cyanide leaching. But one thing that was interesting was we ran into a new group called Extract. They're in joint venture with a company called Bechtel. They're in partnership. What they are doing is they are testing new leaching solutions that are non-cyanide, non-toxic. They said, we can significantly improve your recoveries. We said, prove it to us. So they took our heap material, and they took material from leach pad number 1 and leach pad number 2, crushed it down to 2 millimeters, and they were recovering, as opposed to 29%, they were recovering up to 63 to 69%. Significant improvement. So we've been continuing the testing with them. We're doing some column leach tests right now, and moving forward, we believe that we might have a solution for extracting the silver from the heap leach pads. These are just some of the examples. Essentially, we used Caps Cassidy. They did cyanide testing. These are some of the results on the fresh material. And here's the extract column leaches on the leach pads, getting very good recoveries as compared to the 21 to 29% that we were getting using cyanide. So we're moving forward with that testing right now. And then we want to put out a PEA later this year. Now, the big thing about Candelaria is upside, 2 big pits. This is a magnetometer airborne survey. This is the main regional structure that is clearly defined by a break in the magnetics, old historic workings all the way along through here and through here. Silver oxide here going into silver sulfide. But as we head over towards the old Georgine pit area, we're getting a different style of mineralization. We're not getting silver oxide, we're getting copper sulfide in an altered porphyry. And if we look at that, we'll see that this sample here was returning almost 3% copper with good silver and gold credits. So we believe there is a good porphyry potential at Candelaria as well. A lot of work to do. This geophysical map, a compilation with the geochemistry, selected targets. We're getting a lot of copper oxide on the system over here west of the pits as well. Now let's go jump down to Arizona. This is our second major project. The reason we acquired this project, outside the town of Globe, which is one of the biggest porphyry copper producer areas in the southwest US, we're looking at some prospectors came to us and they said, we've got these great big huge silver vein fragments. They found them using their metal detectors and they took them out just from less than a meter under the surface. This guy here weighed in at 417 pounds, estimated to contain about 70% pure silver. So our job is to try and find the source of these. In the meantime, we're at the very northeast end of major porphyry copper belt. Freeport-McMoran right here. We've got Pinto Valley, which is Capstone. We've got Carlotta, KGHM. We've got Resolution, Rio Tinto, and BHP. And a brand new discovery called Ocelot under the old Dominion mine where they had northeast trending vein systems, polymetallic. They're now drilling beneath those and they're getting porphyry copper intercepts of about 250 meters of 0.6 to 0.7% copper. All that projects upwards onto our project. This is where our silver veins are, it's right up here. That's just some of the samples that we've collected, returning fairly spectacular grades of silver. We drilled them, we found the right structure. We didn't get quite those grades, but we were getting up to 3,000 grams per ton silver and some good gold grades as well. So we've got more work to do. We've got another area to the north of here that we want to test. Oops, wrong way. This is what's called a ZTEM survey map. It's an electromagnetic survey, airborne. What it says is there's a couple of big porphyry targets and about 5 silver targets, with another big area up here with about 200 silver samples that we've collected from surface. We need to do more work up there. So lots of work to do still here at Phoenix Silver. That's just some of the photographs. Essentially, there's our drill operating. These are all the workings of Freeport-McMoran right across the valley. That's our geologist essentially handling copper oxide mineralization. So not only do we have a lot of copper potential on the property, but we've got those great big huge silver vein fragments as well. That's just more copper on the surface at Phoenix Silver. So Phoenix Silver, we've got several targets. We've got 6 silver targets, 2 highly prospective porphyry copper targets, and we are getting a lot of, shall we say, interest from major companies, mainly due to the porphyry copper potential. So, Cherokee, Eastern Nevada, I'm not going to spend any time on this, just there's 12 kilometers of good copper, silver, gold vein systems. This is another airborne mag map, big target down here in the south with these big veins shooting off of it. This area here was drilled in the 1980s for porphyry moly. We think we've got potential for porphyry system down in through here. Big vein systems coming up with copper, silver, and gold, and we might have some carbonate replacement potential in this area as well. So very prospective property, and we are getting questions about that project right now. So Candelaria, we're carrying on mainly metallurgical testing, proceeding to a PEA. We want to do some drilling to expand both the open pit and down dip mineralization, and maybe do some exploration for porphyry targets. Phoenix Silver, we've got 6 silver targets, 2 big porphyry copper targets. We want to do some more sampling, particularly of those high-grade silver nugget areas. And with the porphyry copper, we might do some IP and drilling. It's getting much easier to permit drilling now in the United States, by the way. It's one good thing in my mind Mr. Trump has done. Cherokee, essentially, not doing much more work there right now, but we do want to do some more surface work and maybe some IP geophysics. That's our ups and downs since the incorporation of the company in 2016. We've got about a $75 million market cap. Issued and outstanding, you can see major shareholders, Eric Sprott. We also have the Jupiter Fund here out of London that invested in us last year. Commodity Capital out of Switzerland, and several other essentially small family funds that have invested into our company as well. So that's really our story. I can open the floor to any questions. Oh yeah, that's our management and directors. I've been president and CEO since the founding of the company in 2016, and Luke Norman, who is chairman of US Gold, is involved in the company. Claudia Tornquist, you might know, she is Kodiak Copper. She's presented at a lot of the conferences here in London as well. So, and Ken Enquist is currently the CEO of Intrepid Metals. He was with First Mining Gold as well prior to his stint with Silver One. So thank you.